Hi, Stampers. It's Lisa with Queen Bee Creations here with today's live. And I do have a fun fold, but we are on a Thursday, so it's a rather simple fun fold and doesn't require any dies. That's part of my new Stamping Made Simple series. I have a few new stampers that have asked me if they can still create my cards without having a die cutting machine or those sorts of things. So this is the card we're making today, and you may kind of recognize it because it's a combination of two cards. It's a combination of a gatefold card, which means that it opens in the middle, and then it is a bookbinding card because when you open it, this little section over here doesn't, this stays together. So this is the part that makes it a bookbinding, and the fact that it opens in the middle is a gatefold. So we're combining the two. We're making a masculine card, and it's using some designer series paper and then a stamp set that's all sentiments. So I'm excited to show you how it works. So here we are down on my desk, and as I said, it takes designer series paper, and this was a set I really liked. I really liked the suite that went with this. There's a stamp set and dies and a whole bunch of things with this whole airplane theme, but of course I had more on my wish list than my budget allowed for. So several of the things like the otters and the airplanes and whatever, I just bought the designer series paper. And then I have quite a few of these stamp sets that are just mostly sentiments. And I like this one, this Unbounded Love. It has inside and outside sentiments, so you can create the entire card. And it has a lot of different sayings. There's a with sympathy, a hello, a celebrate, a happy birthday, a just for you, best of luck, several different occasions, several different ways I can use this stamp set. So I'm combining this with some designer series paper and then the fun fold. So I'm going to start out with all of our little pieces here. So what I have to start with is I have a piece of cardstock that is 4 1/4 by 11. Okay, so this is half of a sheet of cardstock. I just cut down the 4 1/4 and then instead of scoring on the 5 1/2, we're going to score differently. But I still needed 5 1/2 in the center part. And then I wanted the front to be the gatefold. So I guess I'm trying to explain my thinking here. Is I wanted this section here to be 4 1/4 by 4 1/4, right? So what I needed to do is I needed to start out with saying, okay, half of that front of the 4 1/4 is going to be 2 1/8. So I went ahead and put a score line there. And then I needed to add on 5 1/2 inches. Okay. So laying it on my ruler, I could even move my score line over to this edge and then find the 5 1/2 and score there. Okay, and then I came in from the end this way and scored, 2 1/8 in from here. So 2 1/8, 2 1/8, and then 5 1/2 in the middle. Okay, so that just left me with this, which was 1 1/4 in here. So that's how my math worked out and how we got this funky fold. But I'm going to start out and tell you that this, on the 11-inch side, we're going to score at 2 1/8, 3 3/8, and then 8 7/8. Okay, so it's kind of eighths, but hopefully you have downloaded my little tip on how to read the ruler and break those things down into the eighths easy. It's not as hard as it sounds. I know there are some people out there that get a little confused with the 1/8 of an inch markings, but once you do it a few times, I think it gets easier. Okay, and remember, I was creating the middle to be 4 1/4 by 4 1/4. So the white that's going to go on the inside is just going to be a 4 by 4 because we're reducing by 1/4 inch. And then I have this strip here that is the 1/2 inch that's just going to go along the edge, and that's just going to make it coordinate with the outside. Okay. These little pieces here, and you can see I cut them contiguous. So I cut a 4 by 4 piece, and then I cut it down the middle. And I did that because I wanted the pattern to match up. It's not necessary for the pattern to match up, but it's kind of fun when it does. So actually, it's not a whole 4 inches, is it? This piece was 4 by 3 3/4 and then cut in half. So it's actually 1 7/8 for each side. But my point remains the same, and then I, cut the square, and then I cut down the middle so that my pattern matched up. But 1 7/8 wide, 4 inches tall. Then this one is 1 inch by 4 inch. Okay, so this is just another piece of designer series paper out of the same stack. Okay, a lot of our designer series papers have something rather themed on the front and then kind of generic on the back. So even if you were to purchase a Halloween or a Christmas or an Easter pack, oftentimes we can use it past the holiday because you can use the other side. Oh, and then I needed some ribbon, and I got the new pack of ribbon, and they call this a starter pack, which I didn't totally catch like when I first ordered it, but it's these 2 ribbons. So they're 1/4 inch, and they are Misty Moonlight and Basic White, and you get the 2 colors together, but you only get 2 yards of each. That's why they're calling it a starter pack. So when you're looking at the catalog, most of our ribbons come with about 10 yards. This one comes with 2 yards each. So be very careful when you're watching that, because I didn't catch that and I expected 10 yards, and that's not what I got. But it is a good way for people who aren't sure they're really going to be into ribbon or aren't going to use a lot of it. They can still get some and not have a lot of leftover stuff. Oh, and then I'm also going to need Misty Moonlight ink. And I punched out some circles. So I used my 2 3/8 inch and my 2 1/4 inch. So a lot of times when you you don't have a die cutting machine yet, punches are going to be the way that you can add shapes to your card without a lot of extra expense. And a lot of our stamp sets will come with coordinating punches that will punch out in shapes that coordinate with the set. Okay, so let's start with some simple things. Let's get some pieces out of the way. I love to do that. I love to get as much as I can together so that I'm not losing things on my desk. So I'm going to put this on one side. This on the other. So how's everybody doing? Are you getting excited? Are you getting warmer weather yet? We're supposed to hit like 95 degrees and have already gotten a heat advisory for this weekend. Funny, we kind of skipped over spring. It was really, really cold, and then all of a sudden now we're getting hot. I was so looking forward to that in-between weather, and we didn't seem to get it. Oh, it's still gloomy where you are? Bummer. I don't know why we have to have gloomy or hot. I want the in the middle one. Oh, and I'm not going to glue this on yet. I'm going to try to be good. I want to do my stamping before I adhere. So that in case I make a boo-boo, I can flip it over and stamp on the other side. So I'm going to bring in my blocks. And then these are photopolymer stamps. So they're nice and clear, makes them easy to mount. On the inside, may all your wishes come true. This one here. This is all my little extra pieces. This stamp set is part of a bundle, and it comes with dies. And then I have taken a clear envelope and just shoved my extra pieces in here. Do I have a favorite fold? I don't know. Not really. What I do the most of is the card in a box. I sold quite a few of them on Etsy, where I would do custom boxes. The card in a box has so much real estate to it that you can really customize them up. So I was taking orders for them where I could, like if they were doing a graduation card, I could make it graduation themed. I could add their school colors. I would find their school mascot, print that out on cardstock, and really like customize it. I could find their interests and their likes and match it to the occasion and the person, and came up with some really great cards. Somebody actually hired me to make a card for Jerry Lee Lewis before he passed away, one of his birthday cards I made. So it was all themed with the Great Balls of Fire. And I actually found some of his records, like pictures of his records online, and the lady sent me pictures of his car, his dog, his gun, you know, several things that he was very attached to, and we included that in the card. One time I did an order for Taco Bell corporate, if you can imagine. They wanted to make cards thanking people for, 10, 15, 20 years of service. So I made some of those. I had somebody whose husband was like a CEO of Patron. And so she sent me some graphics of, that were logoed to them, and I was able to make that. So the card in a box, that's probably going to be my favorite because there's so much you can do with it, and the amount of customization you can do with it is just amazing. So all of those are out on my Pinterest boards. See. And I've made blog posts of them, of course. But so I guess a long way of saying the card in a box is probably my favorite. Oh, and you know what? I'm not going to attach this on yet, and let me tell you why. I want to attach this to the front of my card, and I want to center it between here, but I only want to put adhesive under half. Okay, so I know I can just put adhesive on half, and then I want to flip it over and adhere it. Well, it's easy for me to mess with it and move it around and decide I'm centered and I'm, centered left, right, up, down, and move it around. Okay. Now that I've got that there, I can bring my sentiment over and attach that after the fact, so that now all I have to do is worry about centering this in the blue, not centering it in the card overall. And that lets me spin this and make it straight. Whereas if I was trying to center the square or center the circle in the square, with the sentiment already on there, it's harder because I'm working at keeping the sentiment straight as well as keeping it centered in the card. So only having to worry about one thing kind of makes it simpler. Okay, I wanted to add some ribbon on the side over here for interest, and I actually did a bow Sometimes I'll just wrap the ribbon around there without the bow so that there is no lump, because the lump will cost you extra to mail. So if you're giving it to someone direct, the bows are great. I love them. If you're going to be sending it through the mail, take into consideration that that's going to be a bump and it's going to possibly cost extra postage because it will need to be hand canceled because it's not all the way flush. That's where I will often use baker's twine because their knot on the bow is much smaller and easier to get through postage without having to pay extra. But I'm going to hand this direct, so I'm going to make a bow. I'm going to bring in the bow maker tool, and I'm going to wrap this around. And I'm going to make what I call like a cancer ribbon on the front. I'm wrapping it around so that it's kind of crisscrossed. The top piece I'm going to feed underneath and pull up and over the top. Okay, so I stuck it underneath, pulled straight to the back, and then came back to the front again. And now I'm just going to tie a knot. And because I want these tails to go straight left and right, that's the way I'm pulling the tails. If I was making a bow where I wanted the tails to hang below, then that's the way I would pull the knot, is I would pull the tails down low as I'm tightening the knot, because that would keep it going the direction I want them to go. Okay, so this is the bow maker tool. It's for sale on my website. My husband makes those. But once I have the bow in it, then I can wrap it around and see how much, I'm going to need for the inside. So now I'm going to cut this off the spool. And so by my not cutting it off the spool until the last minute allows me to use just enough ribbon and I'm not wasting a whole lot. Okay. In order to get this to stick on the inside, I'm going to use mini glue dots. Mini glue dots are great because they are a little bit thicker, and that thickness allows it to get into the grooves and the texture of the ribbon and really grab hold of it so that it sticks really well and doesn't come undone. So mini glue dots are great for buttons and certain embellishments that maybe are a little heavy or have some texture to it, and also for ribbon. Okay, so by wrapping that around there, I'm kind of burying the ends on the inside of my card, because now I want this to stick here. That's going to create that bookend part I was talking about. So I'm going to put some tear and tape adhesive, which is a very strong adhesive that we have. Either this or Stampin' Seal would be my recommendation in here, just because it gives it a little extra grab, because it's going to get, well, not more movement, but more tugging on it. Anytime there's going to be a piece of the card that's going to get tugged on or get extra movement, then I will use a stronger adhesive. It's also great for making boxes and 3D items, that kind of stuff. Okay, so now it's, it's stuck, but if I want to make sure it's really, really stuck, I might flip it over and rub it with a bone folder, because this kind of gives it extra pressure, but it also warms up the tape, which activates the glue a little better. So now that I've done that, it's really going to stay put. Okay. And remember, we have the 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 left in here. So that's where this is going to go. And it looks like, oh, I got a little boo-boo on here. I don't know if you can see, but right under here, there's a little bit of a mark. It's not much. Most people probably wouldn't notice it. It bothers me. So I'm going to come in with this sand eraser. And this is, again, on my website. There's an affiliate link for Amazon where I get these from. It's under Craft Room Favorites on my website. but it allows me to kind of rub this along the paper, and I want to do it gently because I don't want to rip a hole in the paper or make it pill, but it will lift that off of there. So that I don't have that little mark. Okay. And then we're ready to stick it to the inside of the card. So just overall, I'm centering it in the whole thing. And there we go. There is our aviation themed masculine birthday card using the Take to the Sky designer series paper and the Unbounded Love stamp set. This was a super easy bookbinding gatefold card. So another card for volume 3 of my Fun Fold books. Nope, this one is not in a book yet. Can you imagine? I have 2 books out. They have 50 folds each, and this one didn't make it in there. I think the bookbinding is in there. There's a vertical and a landscape version of the bookbinding, but I don't believe the gatefold is in there. That was an extra little twist. So you can make similar with what's in the book. Thank you to everyone who is liking and sharing. I appreciate that. Make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss out. We have some fun upcoming cards. This is what we were doing on Monday. Last Monday, we did a bandstand card that went vertical. This time we're doing landscape. So same kind of fold, just flipped the other direction. And we are using the beautiful butterflies bundle with some new foil paper that we have that's got some dry embossing pre-done on it. And I believe this is the lovely Floral Impressions designer series paper. I believe that's what that one's called. So that will be on Monday. So can I remind you about my vacation? What I'm going to be doing is I am going to visit my daughter. She lives in New Mexico, and I will be staying there I leave on the 3rd and come back on the 17th. I will be pre-filming all of my YouTube lives, and I will schedule them to go off at the same time that things go live. So from your end, everything will look the same, and that it will be posted as a live video and go off when it's supposed to. I'm hoping to show up in the comments. Since I won't have all my crafting supplies, I won't be able to actually film from there, but I'm hoping to show up in the comments and still be able to answer questions and those sorts of things. So I'll be gone for 2 weeks, but I don't want you guys to miss out. So I've got all my cards pre-designed. I don't know if you can see the mess behind me over here, but that stack of envelopes over there, that's all of the cards I have already designed and cut the pieces for, and we'll be filming today and tomorrow to pre-schedule those. So thank you so much for being here and supporting me on a job that I absolutely love. If you too want to be able to buy your stuff at a discount and use Stampin' Up! As a tax write-off, I invite you to join my team. Right now is a fabulous time to join because you can get $165 with a product of your choice for just $99 with free shipping. And then you would have a 20% discount, at least a 20% discount until the end of October, without even buying another thing. But you probably will want to buy, because in between then we will have new online exclusives, a new fall catalog. There's going to be several things coming out, and being a demo, you get to order all of that a month in advance. And as being part of my team, then you also get the benefit of more access to me and free access to my tutorials. So It doesn't include the books, but all of my other $10 and $5 tutorials, those are all free to my team members. So I invite you to join me and have some fun. Otherwise, I will see you back on Monday for our next Fun Fold card and June. Can you believe it? Okay, thank you so much, and I'll see you then. Bye.